Good morning. Good morning. Facebook Live. How are you this morning? I was running a minute late trying to figure out was did I have everything I needed because I generally do my preparation the night before, and for some reason I was a little flustered this morning. I was a little disorganized. Organized last night. I had done everything. So that meant this morning I had a little pause with procrastination. Sometimes those P's will get you in trouble all the time, and it's not right. But sometimes it does happen. So it did happen to me this morning for a second. And I just finished getting the dog a treat. So I think I'm settled down. And I have my cup of confidence on one side and my serenity on the other. So I am trying to be quiet in my delivery this morning. And today is May 1st. We're already 5 months. This is our 5th month into 2020. And 2020 has certainly been so much different than what we expected it to be. We did not expect any of this. We were not prepared. We were not prepared. And we're going to talk about some of those P's this morning of not being prepared. And so I think my little catch-up line this morning was, what actions would you or could you associate with unpacking your stuff basement bound? What would you do? How would you get there? And I'm going to say good morning. Good morning, good morning. My name is Sandy Winborn. I'm glad to have you in this little space with me for this short period of time, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity to enjoy this place of unpacking, this place of self-discovery, this place of me and not we, this place of going up. After, in this instance, you got to go down. You got to go down a little bit. You got to dig for who you are and where you've been and what you've been all about. Just dig long enough, but you can't stay there. I don't want you to stay in your past. I need you to come on out of there. And so this morning, of course, I always have something, I think about either a song, and this morning I do have some poems. Good morning, Wesley. Good morning, T and Lavender. Good morning, good morning. But this morning we want to talk about things you can control. There's not a lot of things that we can control outside ourselves. There really are not. And sometimes we're not always aware of that. We're not. We just think that we control a lot of things, and that's false. We can't control our children once they get a certain age. They start acting out. They do what they want to do. You may be able to take care of the dog because the dog needs food, so you can train them. But after maybe an animal or something, a real human animal, you can't train. But can you train yourself? Can you train yourself? And sometimes we can't. So I went online, of course, and I found this poem. And it was written by Caleb L.P. Gunner. And it's talked about the things you can control. And so I want you to, hope you have your pen, or you don't need a pen and pencil yet, but just thinking about putting a pen in some of these things that you cannot control. It says, you can't control your beliefs. That's what it says, you can control your beliefs. You can control your attitude. What's your attitude this morning? Is it a good one? Is it kind of mediocre? Or is it a poor attitude? You in my space. I only got a little space, and we in this house together. We've been here a while. So your attitude could be a little wound up, okay? Your thoughts. You can control your thoughts. You can control your perspective. What's your perspective for tomorrow? What is it for today? What is it for today? It says you can control how honest you are. Hi, Shirley. How honest you are. Who your friends are. You can pick your friends. Now, a lot of times our friends pick us too. So then that's going to be a good relationship as long as it's a 50-50. Sometimes you need a 20-80, as my little friend Vernon talks about. You need more than what you can give at the time. So sometimes you do have to understand that balance may change, but it still comes out to 100. It says you can control what books you read. You can control those things. How often you exercise. Some people aren't disciplined, so unless they have somebody, like generally I've had a trainer for years, and she keeps me right. Good morning, Nicole, if you see this later on. And she always keeps me right. It's been years. I think I started with her in 2012. And since the COVID-19, though, I have not been over to the gym. And of course, it's still closed. But as far as I'm concerned, I know I meet the criteria for not being running around or being a part of that mindset that you can do anything you want to do. I think the virus is serious. In fact, I hope to remember that I have a little small tale to tell you. You can control the type of foods you will eat, how many risks you can take, because some of us are, we're not risk takers. I'm asking you to take a risk even doing this project with me, working on yourself. That's a risk for some people. They don't want to reveal too much of who they are and where they've been and how hurt and all those kinds of things. Okay, it says how you interpret a situation. You can control that. How you interpret it. Now, somebody else may be trying to take it totally out of control, but you can control it. It says how kind you are to others. That you can control. Okay? How kind you are to yourself. How many you can honestly say, if you feel you're currently kind to yourself, you write it in the thread. And oh, by the way, hit share. Thanks for scrolling. Thanks for stopping to listen. And hopefully, thanks for sharing. Okay? Let's see. You can control how often you tell someone you love them. I think that's good. Because we don't know. Our next hour isn't promised. We don't know what our next hour, our next week, day, year was going to be. But sometimes this is the time right now to tell people that you love them. It says you can control how often you say thank you. I thank you this morning for coming. I absolutely do. It says you can control how you express your feelings. Are you a person that can actually talk about your feelings? Can you write your feelings, or you can't say anything about your feelings? That's a private thing. That's a private issue for you. You can control whether or not you ask for help. Some people will never ask for help. Like I remember when I was married, my husband would never stop. I would say, we're lost. Can we stop and ask somebody? That's before GPS. No. I'll figure it out. And is this after we've driven 25, 30 miles out the way, going in the opposite direction of where we're supposed to be headed? You can control that. It says you can control how often you practice gratitude. Gratitude. I'm grateful that you're here in this space with me right now. That's gratitude. You can control how many times you smile. I am a smiler. I love to smile. And I do it all the time. Okay? You can control the amount of effort you put forth in anything, with anybody, for any reason. You can control that. You can control how much you spend or invest with your money. Are you a person who spends every dime you get? Or are you a person that decides that your money is important enough that you have to keep track of it to ensure that everything that needs to be met is met, such as the bills are paid? You have money, a little bit of money for clothing if you need it. You have gas for your car. If you still have young children, you have the money to make sure that your child care is taken care of. All those things talks about your money and how you deal with it. But you can control it. It's nobody else. Unless somebody keeps telling you need to give money, you should be able to control your money. You can control how much time you spend worrying. Now, I used to be a worrywart. I used to worry about every little thing, but it was out of my control. Those things were out of my control. And sometimes, haven't you realized that you worry about stuff only for it to work itself out, either by God or whatever your belief system is, by something else, some miracle of some sort. And all of a sudden, what you worried about became a non-issue. Okay, it says you can also control how often you think about your past. That's why I said I'm only asking you to go back to your past a little bit. Get the treasures that you need to bring forward, clean them up, make them so they're clear to you, and then move out on them. You can control whether or not you judge other people. I think it says that if you judge, somebody else will judge you. So maybe we just shouldn't judge. We should just make it where, okay, that's what they did. Okay. No condemnation. And can't take them back. It says you can control whether or not you try again after a setback. Are you that kind of person? Are you? Some people aren't. They actually are set back and they stay there. They do not know how to recalibrate themselves to move forward. And so a setback means to stay back. And so I'm asking you, can you control your setbacks? You can control how you feel about them. You can get away from them. And the last one says you can control how much you appreciate the things you have. That's a wonderful thing. That's wonderful. Good morning, Joanne. It's wonderful that you can control things that you realize you can control. If you can't control them, okay. But generally speaking, we have controls, but we always put them off or put them out there that we feel we've given up our control. We're convinced that we should be doing something that we have control over, but we give it up. This next one I wanted to bring you is talked about my busy. And oh, by the way, I'm going to say good morning again. And are you stuck? We're all stuck. We're all stuck. This is my last one I'm going to do for this morning. It's called I'm busy. I'm busy, but not the way most people accept. I'm busy calming my fear and finding my courage. I'm busy listening to my kids. I'm busy getting in touch with what is real. I'm busy growing things and connecting with the natural world. I'm busy questioning my answers. I'm busy being present in my life. Are you present in your life this morning? Do you know who you are? Do you know what your controls are? Do you have your hand on the wheel? Don't know. Asking questions. This morning I wanted to talk a little bit about, there were 3 things that I woke up with. I tell you, I'm always waking up with something. And I think I was looking at it this morning, and I think it was called astral. It's like astral. It's the ability to think outside the body. And sometimes we as dreamers, like they said, those of us who are really truly getting a lot of sleep, we should have that ability where we should be able to remember more of what we dreamed and what we were doing in the dream and how it affected us after our dream. And so, good morning, Gloria. So in that happening, it says that we wake up with stuff, or we can wake up, write it down. And I don't know, if you're a person that writes down things, put it in the thread there. And here, please hit share for this this time with me. So the 3 things I wrote this morning was, I woke up with stand solidly in your faith. Whatever you believe, that's your belief, and your belief system doesn't have to be, movable. It may be that it can be shifted if you get more information that convinces you that something you're doing is good, and it has worth and value to you. But stand solidly in your faith. The second one says, get excited about your worth, not everybody else's worth. I'm hoping everybody comes out of this. Good morning, Jean. That when they come out of this quarantine, that they know they have been girded up for the next, what I would call their chapter, their period, their session going forward. What would that look like? And what is your worth when you combine all the ingredients of say what makes a good cake? Okay, if you leave something out, say you leave the eggs out, or you leave the baking powder out, you leave the sugar out, that's not a good cake. So sometimes we have to realize that our worth is what we put into ourselves, not what we release to others. In fact, basically it says if we put a lot in ourselves, then we have a lot that we can give others because we're sure about who we are. The cake we stand in, I'm going to give you cake this morning. The cake that we are, with all those good ingredients, just makes it where we have all this ability to give, to learn, to love, to show kindness. Those things that, remember, we talked about them a second ago, they're in our control. We can do that because we know who we are. That would be that we're excited about our worth. That's our worth. And our worth is, sometimes it says our worth could be like gold. It's gold to us if we know who we are, and that to me is extremely important. And the last one I have is plan ahead. Preparation provides peace to me. Preparation, write that down. Preparation provides peace. If you are prepared, then anything that comes at you in that area of what you prepared to do for whatever it was, be it a project, be it in a dinner, whatever, you're going to prepare it. You're going to make sure that all the ingredients are there. So you plan ahead. You plan ahead. You set the mood. You set the tone for whatever is going to occur. So you stand solidly. You get excited about your worth, and you plan ahead. Those are good things because it says that you've looked at forward, and you're not stuck in not knowing what to do. Not just for yourself, because I think when we're prepared, other people know that we're prepared because they feel that preparation. They feel they're getting something, your energy, your ability, your reasoning. You can answer anything. Good morning, Rhonda. So anyway, scroll, stop, and share, and then listen. That's all I'm going to say. But this morning, I got some other stuff. I always come up with stuff. So on my little pre-information on the video. So once this is done and I hit finish and share and post, it has some things. And one of the things it says is, what actions would you or could you associate with unpacking your stuff? And once again, basement bound. We're going down still. If anybody feels they're already on their way up the steps, and they found some things and they need to bring forward, they've left some stuff behind, they've thrown out some stuff, write that in the thread, and that's good to know. But these were some of the things I was looking at on steps. Is your hurt, and how would you address your hurt? Do you cry about it? Are you sad about it? Do you hide from it? Those are hurts. Those are things that we feel. All those things are feeling things. That we have to hide, that we have to feel sad, or we have to cry. And don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes to cry is to release. So sometimes crying is good. We just have to do it. When we've been hit with something that we were not expecting. I know for myself as a cancer survivor, I went in there thinking, well, I'm good, but it was a Saturday that I got the call, and I remember that call. I remember it, and so my thing is that I cried it out, and I knew it hurt me but guess what? I saw the other side. I'm on the other side of that. That's been since 2011. So sometimes you have to go in long enough to deal with what's bothering you and then come on back out. The next thing is anger. How do you deal with your anger? Do you get mad all over again, or you're mad at everybody all the time? You know, what do you do with your anger? You know, because that could be on our steps. You know, it could be past issues. You know, how about your failures? You know, sometimes we fail at something large and we never get over it. It always becomes, you know, a sad period for us because we can get in touch with what we didn't do. Let it go. We, you know, that's unpacking. You know, that's unpacking. That, you know, if you didn't complete college, go back to college. If there's a book that you got in, you write your book. If there's a place you want to go after COVID-19 is over and we're back to some more normalcy, then go back. Okay? What do you do with your frustration if you're unpacking stuff? You know, your frustration means that you can't get it right. You're troubled about it. You don't know what to do with it. And so you become frustrated, not just at that thing, but everything else. Okay? Let it go. The next thing is missed opportunities. A job, a promotion. Okay. So you didn't get it. You know, and a lot of times we've been in jobs where we've been the best. But I have this theory, and I always said I was going to write a book and try to pawn it off to Harvard, called Leading from the Middle. Sometimes the best knowledge is not at the top. It's in the middle. Those are the people that they call like almost like in an ant colony. You have those, the drones. The drones are the worker bees, you know. So that's what you are. You're the worker bee. So therefore you have the knowledge to bring forth the information that they use at the top. Your name is erased, okay? And so sometimes you have to realize that it wasn't meant for you. But what you learned along the way is, one, you learned that you had the ability. That's learned. The other thing you learned is that you know how to work in a team, because guess what? They didn't let you lead it, but you really were leading it, because you were the informational source that you were feeding up to the top. So therefore, that made it vital. That made it important. That made what you were doing important. So don't feel bad about not being able always to get to the top, because sometimes our call is for the middle. Therefore, we know what the top is doing and what the bottom is doing. You know, we're not too far ahead, okay? Next thing, blaming who? Who you gonna blame? Why blame folks? You know, I used to have a friend that blamed everybody for everything. And finally, one day I asked her, so what do you blame yourself for? We have to take responsibility. We have to take some idea that we were part of it. You know, we were part of what happened, and we have to know our part, because sometimes we played in a play and we didn't know what part we played. But guess what? We played the part. That's why it kept, you know, being, you know, so daunting for us, because sometimes those plays are so real we forget real versus unreal, you know, and it happens. Okay, the next thing it talks about is love. You know, what loves, you know, do you need to unpack? Are they still there? You need to help them pack. You know, I'm just saying. But you're just looking at life in general. You know, if you were given a love, how do you protect it? How do you nurture it? You know, but first, I think in order for you to be nurturing to others, and not to the point where if they left or something happened, you know, death, sickness, whatever, or that you're not lost. You need to know the level of love that you have, and we love people, you know, till they leave here, you know, but we need to know that we're strong. We're strong in who we are. We're strong in our idea of love, and we want love. We all deserve love. All of us do. And the last thing, well, wait a minute, I got to go to haters. You know, how can you unpack the haters? You know them. You know who they are. It could be somebody that just always says, you can't do that. You can't wear that. You can't go there. You know, that job's not for you. You know, that's what the Urban Bible says. That would be a hater. And you just point to the fact that a hater is a hater. You know. So the next thing you know is you move out. You move out onto something else. The last thing it says is finances. Looking at your finances. How do you handle your money? Have you thrown away so much that you probably could have been a millionaire? Many of us have probably bought things that once we got them, the need no longer existed. The desire for it no longer existed. And ultimately we became stuck with something that became part of our basement. And so what I'm saying to you is just let it go. Let it go. Okay? So anyway, those are all the things, the hurt, the anger, the failures, the frustrations, the missed opportunities, the blaming who's, the career issues, the loves, the haters, and the finances. All those things. And these are things I just sat up and just wrote down. I'm quite sure there's other stuff you could unpack. What other things would you put down if you needed to? And somebody just wrote, move to positive, move from positive, it says, then you move to positive, and I guess you were saying, and not negative people, So that's good. We want to be positive. We want to be positive ourselves so that we would certainly draw positivity. But here's the questions for today. And I have 3 of them. Hope you have your pen and paper. The first question is for May 1st, 2020. What do your basement steps look like? What's on your steps? In your way. They're in your way. What is on your steps? Out of what I mentioned. Is it anger? Is it hurt? Frustration? What's on your steps? What could it possibly be? Good morning, Hurt Martin. There's stuff on the steps. And a lot of times when we have stuff on our steps, we don't acknowledge it. We just step over it. But does that make it that it doesn't exist? It does exist. It's there. It's in the way. Because the steps aren't clear. We can't get down to our basement to clear out anything if we have all this stuff on the steps. Okay? The next thing it says, who is on your steps? Now before it's things, now it's people. Who's in your way getting down to your basement? Who could it be? Who could it be? You know that they're there. We don't know how we get there, but sometimes we got folks in our way, and we continue to deal with them every day, never getting past them to get to the things on our steps. And then clearing the steps and getting down to the basement so that we can clear out the basement. That's big. That's big. And then the last question says, how long has it been since you spent real time alone doing something totally for yourself? This is quarantine time. Are you doing something for yourself? It would be wonderful if you are. If you're doing, good morning, my nephew Sean. If you're doing something for yourself, then this is the time to me to come up with new values, a new way forward, a new vision, a new project, new. And when you were little and you got some new shoes, nobody could tell you anything about those new shoes. Even when the kids would want, little baby Air Jordan, they didn't want you to get anything on them. Because eventually we use those things initially as they built us up. We felt important to have on something new or to have a new car or to, and so the value over time and how we feel about what it is that we purchase, we lose it. We lose it. So that's a big question. Spending time with ourselves, may mean that we go back to feeling like we're that new car again. We've dusted ourselves up. We've cleaned ourselves off. We look good, combed our hair. We brushed our teeth. We did all those things that says, what's next for us? Where can we go? How can we get there? And so we have to say, I need to spend time with me. So this is good time. And how many of you would actually say that once quarantine is over, you will take a period of your day, every day, just like some people meditate, some people run, some people read a book and they get lost in the book. How many of you would say, honestly, that you would take an hour or two just for yourself? No one else. No one else. You know, the dog is dogging, the bees are being, you know, the flies are flying, but guess what? You're in your own space doing you, in your peace, in your quietness, in your serene time. You know, that to me is a great takeaway. So, you know, what say you? You know, I was looking at what that saying meant, and it was actually used and still used in legal and government issues, meaning what's your verdict? What's your vote? What's your vote for yourself? What would you do if you had time or took time? Because sometimes we don't always know we have time because we waste time. I do it too. You know, sometimes I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit, watch TV. But I'm not a big TV watcher, so that makes it great for me. You know, usually the TV is watching me while I have, you know, a book, my computer, something. I'm multi, you know, the TV with something else or two or three other things. So what would you do? So anyway, we're going to go back over. I'm hoping you're getting something out of this. I'm not going to read that long poem over again, but I can certainly tell you that it speaks to what I was talking about. How can we get in touch with what we control? Understand, write down some things that you honestly can control. If you can't control them, indicate that. Can't control them. You know, if you know you control stuff that you can control, write it down. You know, a lot of us have given up our control. You know, people tell us what time we're going to go eat. You know, in fact, one of the things, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and I was talking about when I used to do these conferences and I did presentations for the military all over the world, you know, and they would have international conferences or national conferences, and I would be a presenter. And one of the things as a presenter I did was tell them about, if the current job you have goes away, what would you be doing? If the marriage went away, if the love relationship went away, you know, if you ended up and you had no money to buy something, if that went away or the source to get it, what would you do? You know, and so I'm always telling people, if we work in what a washing machine does, is keep going around, keep running around on who we are and what we can do, and how we how we don't have to stand still in one place and only deal with one area. That's what my area of specialization has talked about for years. We're multifaceted, multi-capable, multi-able to do so many things, but yet and still we get one thing and we stay with that, and if that goes away, we're devastated. What I'm saying is, find some other things that you do and add them to that bag of treasures. Add them to that basket of goodies that are all you. No one else can take that away. No one. If you got your degree, can't take it. If you have your heart, can't take it. You can try to give it to them, but if you're living and it's beating every day, then that's yours. That is your heart. But if you're using it in the romantic sense and you give it away and you give it away and you never get anything back in return, own it. Start saying, I can't control what anybody gives me, but I can control what I give away. You can. You can. Start reclaiming your stuff, filling up your basket, digging down deep and going into your basement, finding those treasures. And when you resurface, you're good. So anyway, understand what you can control. Next thing is, stand solidly on what you believe. What is your faith? What do you believe in? You know, get excited about your worth. What is your worth? Do you know it? You know, are you priceless? Sometimes I think I'm priceless. There's only one of me. The man upstairs, God only made one Sandy, like me. Now, there may be some other people that have some of my characteristics. They may look a little bit like me. They may sound a little bit like me. But I am the only me. And so I have to know my worth. What is my worth? What's your worth? Last thing, it says plan ahead. Know what you need to do ahead of time. And so it says preparation provides peace. That's the PPP. Okay? Peace comes when you are prepared to provide anything that comes your way. Basically, they're going to ask you a question. You got it. They're going to ask you to come and do a demonstration. You got it. You know, you needed to make a meal for this evening. You're having people over. You got it. And that's what I'm saying. Preparation provides peace. No worry. No worry. None whatsoever. So once again, I'm telling you and I'm asking you, get excited about who you are. Go down to your basement. Understand your actions that are associated with where you're at in your unpacking. Are you happy? Are you hurt? Do you have failures? Do you have frustrations? Do you see missed opportunities and think you can never go forward again? Guess what? Then that meant that wasn't for you. You got something. There's something else out there. Reach for it. Prepare and reach. It's yours. It's yours. It is yours. So anyway, those are the things I had for you today. It is May 1st. I can't believe that we're 5 months into the new year. 2020, we never thought 2020 would be like this, but it is. And I'm hoping and praying that you will go to my YouTube station, which is under, I think it says YouTube/user/SAN, that's SANN, and BAM, which is BAMM. All of these are there as a collective sessions, just a collection of sessions on Are You Stuck? So it even take you back to the beginning when I was talking all about, the multiple intelligences and our learning style, how we learn, because how we learn also affects how well we learn and what we can do with it, especially if it takes us back to understanding that we're gifted in certain areas, but not all of us work in our gifts. And so that's what multiple intelligence is all about. I thank you for coming. I thank you for stopping by. I will be here Monday through Friday trying to do this again, hoping that I meet you in this space and that you come to find out, are you stuck? And the answer is yes, you are stuck. I'm stuck, but we can do something about it. We're preparing for the new us, the person going up the road, the person at the top of the stairs after they cleaned out their basement. Have a wonderful weekend. Do be safe. You go out, make sure you're still wearing your mask. Some states I know are freeing up people's ability to move about the land. But personally, I don't want anybody that close to me. I'm going to keep the 6 feet. In fact, I'm just going to stay in my house as long as I can and only go out when I absolutely have to. But anyway, use your time wisely. I thank you. Have a wonderful day and weekend. Bye-bye.